welcome or welcome back. My name is Gina. This is my little corner of YouTube where I share with you all about my knitting adventures. Let's see. So it has been a minute since I did a regular podcast thing. I put up a couple of videos going through my older knits, sort of showing how those garments have held up over time, how the fabric has behaved. But now I am back and ready to show you what I have been up to in the meantime. In this episode, I have for you one-ish finished object, which I can show you. I'll explain the ish in a minute. And two works in progress, as well as some knitting plans / discussion of my decision paralysis that I seem to struggle with whenever I am getting to the end of multiple projects. So we'll jump right in with my first finished object, which is the Zephyr Tee, which you see behind me. So let me talk to you about why I knit this, what I made it out of, and the pattern a little bit, and then I'll bring it closer so that you can see some of the details. So like I said, this is the Zephyr Tee. This is a pattern by Samantha Guerin. I think it was just released in May 2025, so it's really recent. And I made this as a sample knit for Fibre Stem, which is a brick and mortar yarn shop, not local to me, but it's in Moline, Illinois. Jessica from Fibre Stem posted a call on Instagram for folks who are interested in becoming a sample knitter for her. And so I applied and was selected for that. And this is my first sample knit, hopefully not my last for her, but my first sample knit for her. And it was made out of leading Men Fiber Arts in the Diva base, which is 80% merino, 20% silk. It's a fingering yarn. It is extremely luscious. Hopefully you'll be able to tell when I show it closer up, but it has definitely got a shine to it from the silk content, and it is so soft and so luxurious when you are working with it. I really enjoyed the yarn experience. It comes in 150 gram hanks, and out of that 150 grams, you get 600 yards. So, actually, I don't know how that compares to like sock weight fingering, since it's usually in 100 grams and I'm terrible at math. But it's a lot of yardage for one skein of it. So this used, actually I haven't weighed it, so I don't know exactly how much it used, but I had a little bit of the yarn left over. I was worried I was going to be playing yarn chicken, and ended up not having to. So it was fine. Definitely made this out of just 2 balls with a little bit left over. Yeah, so the pattern is very size inclusive. There are 10 sizes. It goes from a 31.75 inch to a 68.75 inch bust. The suggested ease on this is 4 to 8 inches. And I made the size 3, which is the 42 inch version. And yeah, this was a really interesting pattern. It was very detailed. The pattern has both written out instructions as well as charted instructions for the cabling, which, let me just go ahead and pull this closer so hopefully you can see some of the details. Oops, sorry, bumping the tripod there. So it has this cabling. It's not super complex. It is not a difficult cable. And it's only every 12 rounds. So it's not super frequent, but she does have it both charted and written out for folks who I guess, so that it can accommodate people who like either. I prefer the charts, so I didn't even look at the written instructions for the charts or anything like that, so I can't comment on them. Personally, I prefer just charts, and so I understand why designers include both, and I think that it's great that they do, but as a chart reader, it is sort of annoying to have to like scroll through all of the written out instructions, but I do believe she does all of that towards the bottom, like the charts and I think the written instructions, sorry, for the charts are all at the bottom, so you don't have to like scroll and then scroll back up and then scroll back down, which is really nice. So let's see, this like I said, this pattern was extremely detailed, like, I mean, down to the smallest detail. There was only one place where I found myself asking sort of any questions at all, and that was on the sleeve pickup, because there is a number of stitches given for that, but there is not a rate. And so I wasn't quite sure. At first I thought, well, maybe I'm just supposed to pick up every stitch, but that didn't turn out to be the case for me. So, yeah, I think that it would have been nice to have a rate there, but there was a rate given everywhere else that you had to pick up stitches, which I guess was actually just the collar. But yeah, I was just surprised because it was overall like so extremely detailed that to not put a rate of pickup for the sleeves just struck me as a little strange. But yeah, overall incredibly detailed, and I think the details create, like, you have a really nice finish on this. Let's see, so it actually calls for 6 different needle sizes, because you change sizes for the collar, which is not just knit in using a different, like a smaller size needle, it is, but you actually change needle sizes on the collar itself as well. The sleeves are knit in a different size. There are different sizes used for like cast-ons and bind-offs and things like that. So it is incredibly detailed. I don't know if it's, would strictly be necessary to have all of those sizes. It didn't bother me because I have an interchangeable set of needles. But yeah, 6 different needle sizes called for. And I ended up knitting all of these on my Carbons interchangeable needle set. I don't have those with me, but they are made out of a carbon fiber material, and it's less grabby than wood, but it is more grabby than stainless steel would be. And I found that was it worked well for this yarn, which was quite slippery, I assume because of the silk content. And it is like the body is knit on rather large needles. I think it calls for a size 6 US needles for this fingering weight yarn, which I find just tricky when I'm working fingering weight, thinner yarn on larger needles. That's always a little bit more challenging for me. And so the Carbons really helped. I think at first I started trying to use my mindfulness set of needles from, I think those are Knit Pro, Knitter's Pride. And I quickly went off of them because it was just too hard to keep from losing stitches accidentally. I also, normally when I'm doing cables, if they're smaller cables, I like to do that without using a cable needle, but I did use a cable needle throughout for this one because of the slippery nature of the yarn, and the cable crossover is a little bit bigger. I think if I was doing this on a woolly yarn, I would have been able to do it anyway, even though it is a little bit larger of a cable. But on this yarn, I was just like, no. I think I tried it once or twice and lost stitches, and so gave up on that quickly and just dealt with having to keep a cable needle with me. Let's see. So construction on this, it is knit. It is a drop shoulder knit. It is knit from the top down. So you actually start with the back like normal for one of these constructions. Oh no, my dress form the top just came off of the stand. I guess now you can see it. So you start with casting on your stitches for the back, and then you work down. There might be some increases across the back. I don't quite remember. But yeah, you start up here, work down, and then you come around and pick up stitches for the front. You actually kind of pick them up in the back and then knit one side down, pick up and knit down the other side, and then join your fronts and knit down until you get to the length of the sleeve, and then you join in the round and you just knit all the way down. And it has a, not showing you that, there you go. It has a divided hem, which is really nice. Split hem, I guess is what you call it. It used an interesting bind off technique, which I had never done before. I think it was like the intention was to kind of stay in pattern with this 3x1 rib. I don't know if I can get that to focus. Not sure if I love the bind off. Like it was fine to work. I'm just not sure it looks, mine is curling a little bit. I may need to go back and steam that down just a little bit more to try to get it to lay flat. But, and I think it was trying to, like it mimics more like the tubular bind off look, but on this 3x1. And then you come up and knit this folded collar, which I think is gorgeous. Yeah, and that's, oh, we put on the sleeves. Sorry, forgot those. Pick up and knit for the sleeves, and they just have 2 little cable repeats in the sleeves, and then you do that same different kind of bind off that I was talking about down there. And I'm not sure if that bind off has a name. It involved knitting 2 together and slipping those back onto your knit 2 together, slip that back on, and then purling and slipping your purl over your K2 together, and then so on. Yeah, so not sure what that was. But overall, I think this is a really pretty finished project. Let me see if I can get this back on my dress form. There we go. Very pretty project. It was finicky, like I said, partly just due to the yarn. And I'm kind of, this is a little bit small for me, so I have not tried this on to see how it hangs or anything, but on my dress form, it looks very pretty. I think it's really gorgeous in this yarn. I don't know how this yarn, like if this is really a suitable warm weather yarn, since it is 80% wool, but it is very light. And this, I was really worried about using, once I got the yarn in hand, I was like, oh my goodness, this gauge just seems huge for the weight of the yarn. But then I started like blowing up pictures of the sample Zephyr Tee from Samantha Guerin and realized that it was very large and airy. The gauge was really large in her yarn as well. So it is just intended to be knit at a very loose gauge, which maybe the airiness would make it more wearable in warmer weather, even though it does have a high wool content. And I do believe Samantha's sample, I can't remember what it was knit in, but I do think it was something quite woolly as well. So one other thing I wanted to say, so I did, since this is hand-dyed yarn, I was worried about, like it looked pretty even. So I did not alternate skeins throughout, but I did alternate in the bottom third of the tee to just in case there was a slight difference between the 2 skeins, so there wouldn't be like a harsh line when I ran out of the first skein. And I think you can't tell at all. Like it seemed very, very uniform until I got to the collar. So the collar, at that point I had run out of one ball completely, and so so this was knit all with my second skein, and I do think that there is a little bit of a difference. I'm not sure if you can see it so much on the front, but on the back, like I just feel like it gets quite a bit darker here. And that goes on for quite a while on the inside, and then it kind of returns to a little bit lighter color. So yeah, so things were going well until it got a little bit darker. I mean, I think it looks fine. I don't think that that is enough of a difference to bother anybody. And also with it being on the collar, I don't think you notice it as much as if you had just like a weird blop of color in the center of the tee or something. But yeah, just something for a good reminder for me and for everyone to always alternate your skeins when you're using hand dyed, even if it looks like it's pretty consistent and you don't need to. Because I was kind of going, well, I didn't even need to be alternating this until I got to the collar. And then I was like, whoops. Yeah, maybe I did need to. Okay, so that is the Zephyr Tee. I didn't write down when I started that one, but I want to say it was around June June 26th or so, and I just cast it off yesterday, which was July 14th. So I feel like it was a little bit of a tedious project. It took a little bit. I mean, I've been working on it very consistently, not monogamously, but consistently. And yeah, it took me a while. Would I make it again? Yes, possibly. I could definitely see myself making my own self one of these. As I was working on it, I was like, oh, I would love to have this just in, for myself. Like I could see myself making it in exactly the same color, which I forgot to say is Heliotrope, in case any of you are interested in that. But now that I finished it, I could definitely use a break from it. So, yeah. And like I said, I'm not sure how that wool silk blend would really, how warm weather appropriate that would really be for me in my climate where it does get, quite hot. Okay. Next up, we have the Scrappy Yoke sweater, which is a test knit that I am doing for Olga Putano. It is completed. So this is the one finished object, 1+ finished object. So I do have it completed, but I cannot show you the completed project because we're not supposed to show more than what Olga has already shown herself on like her Instagram and stuff. So I'm just going to hold up a little bit. I did have this on the dress form when I was just working on the yoke. So you have seen a little bit of it there, but just a little bit of a teaser. So the Scrappy Yoke sweater calls for, or Olga's sample is made with 4 different colors, but it is intended to be scrappy. So you can use as many colors as you want. I did not do a true scrappy sweater because I actually had full hanks for all of the yarns that I used and picked out ones that I like together. So yeah, so I used 6 different yarns. I used Knit Picks Hawthorne, which I love. I talked about this in my durability review, but I really like Hawthorne for color work. I think it's underutilized there. It's not a true color work yarn, and the fibers, it is very tightly spun, so the fibers don't like meld together. You don't get kind of that fuzzy painted look that you can get with other yarns that are softer and have more halo, but I think it holds up really well. I like the texture that it creates in a fingering weight knitted garment, and I just love those bright tonal colors that they have for color work. So I really enjoyed the process of making that. It went super fast. Again, I forgot to note down when I started and finished that project, but it was less than a month. And really, I mean, it was probably only took me a couple of weeks of knitting to get it done. It's been finished for over a week and just sitting there as I could not bring myself to weave in all the ends. There are a ton of ends to weave in because it's, yeah, because you're changing colors every so many rounds, and they're really so long that even I'm willing to carry my yarns, I feel like, a lot further than most people are, but it was a little too far even for me to carry those down. So the weaving in ends did take several hours, so that was not fun. That pattern comes in 10 sizes, and let's see, the smallest bust size is a 32 inch, and it goes up to a 68 inch. It is recommended to wear with 0 to 4 inches of positive ease. I think, well, I'll tell you more when I can actually show you the thing about what size I did and how much ease there was on me and all sorts of stuff. The test does not end until August the 30th, and I think it's gonna have a mid-September release date. So I'll film again before then and show it so that, well, actually, I guess I won't show it until after the release date. She's very clear, does not want any pictures up on the internet until after the pattern is released. Yeah, so I think I said before, but I'll just say it again. I loved the experience, the knitting experience. I really enjoyed the pattern. I think it's beautiful. It was really well done. I did not enjoy the testing experience because it was all done on a Google Doc. I have no idea who else was even testing it. I am not very chatty in the Instagram thread, chat conversations, or in Ravelry threads, or I've tested on Yarn Pond. I'm usually not very chatty on those threads, but it turns out I do actually like to peruse them, I guess, because I just really felt out to sea with this one. I was wishing I could see what other colors people were doing, get some inspiration, see how things were looking for them to get ideas for my own self. But yeah, it was just, here's the Google Doc, make comments if you have questions or, feedback. And I did ask a couple of questions. They were more, it wasn't questions about the pattern itself, but more about, can I make this modification? And I have not gotten a response to any of my questions, which is, I just gave up and went ahead and did my modifications and made notes on those. But yeah, that was just really frustrating, not being able to get in contact with the designer and not be able to see what other testers were doing, look at their color selections. Funnily enough, somebody just sort of randomly messaged me on Ravelry about another project. And then, as we were talking back and forth, she was like, hey, are you doing the Scrappy Yoke sweater? Are you testing that? Because I am too. Anyway, it was just so funny that she randomly came across me, because like I said, there's not a project that you can search for on that. So since the pattern doesn't exist yet, and so we have no idea who else is testing this. So yeah, that was funny. So looking forward to showing you that one when it is released. Like I said, it's super cute. Very, very cute, very fun. All right, so whips. I have only 2, which I need to get another one, and I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. But first up, the Umbria Summer Top. So this one, I haven't even bothered to show the last couple of podcasts because I was like, haven't made any progress, no point in showing it to you. But I have finally picked it up and made some progress. So we have split for sleeves, and I've actually gotten that far. So not terribly far, but also a lot more progress than I had before when it was just, when I was still increasing for the sleeves. So this is the Umbria Summer Top. It is a pattern by Cookie the Knitter. I'm making the size large, or the number 5. I am knitting it in CoBaSi by Hikoo. It's a cotton bamboo silk blend, so it should be, I have another tee that I made in this yarn base, and it is great for the summer. So I am anticipating that this will be a true summer top that I can wear throughout the warm days. I'm making mine in Raffi Tonal, so probably not the best choice. I do wish I had picked a solid color, but I'm sure the reason I got this was because it was what was on sale. Because I think I got this from Little Knits, where they have like closeouts, and so, you know, there are only certain colors available. So yeah, just this cute little raglan, and I am alternating skeins to try and prevent flashing or pooling, trying to keep it like truly variegated in smaller ways, and that's going okay. It's just annoying to have to alternate skeins, and so that was part of the, you know, part of the reason that I was not enjoying working on this knit. It's also quite slippery, and I think it's the partly because of the variegated nature of this, but it's really hard to read my knitting on the backside. So this is knit in broken rib. So, you know, you knit, one side is just knits, and then the other side is knit 2, purl 2. And it's really nice, you know, the designer set it up so that you get one rest row where you're knitting. She could have done that, the purls, and had you do the rib thing on the front side, but she was smart and have you, you know, have you rib on the back side and knit on the front side, which is nice. But it's just on the back side, I cannot, like I said, I think it's because of the variegation in the yarn. It makes it really hard to see whether I am looking at like the, you know, purls, just wrong side, or if I'm looking at garter stitch, you know, where it's knit one side, purled on the other side. And yeah, so that's been like, it just makes it slow. And it means that I have had to rip back several times, tink, you know, just like one stitch at a time to, you know, when I realize that I have gotten off. So that's annoying. I definitely have to pay attention to what I'm doing. I do watch TV while I'm working on this, but like I can't watch TV. I'm really just listening to it. So yeah, so that's annoying. And the yarn is a little bit slippery. And at first, again, I was working on this on my mindfulness needles, which are stainless steel. And it was like, that's when I was really struggling. I thought I would want that because those tips are a little bit pointier. And so I thought I would want that, which maybe I did while I was increasing. But when I took this on a trip a couple of weeks ago, I put it on my wooden needles, because that way if I lost them in the airport, I wouldn't be devastated. And I found out that actually it's going better on the wooden needles. So yeah, the wood is a little bit grabbier. And I think that is actually helping in this case, since this yarn is a little bit more slippery. So wooden needles, and I finally got past the sleeve separation. So now the rows are not, you know, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're not as long. Yeah, so things are going well. I just need to, you know, make myself do several repeats of this every day, and then I will eventually get through it. Let's see. I did decide to add bust row shaping to this, so increase the fronts a little bit, because otherwise, you know, all of my knits, I get the front is always pulling up higher than the back, because, you know, there are several more inches on my front due to my larger bust for my frame. And yeah, so my tops will hike up in the front if I don't add that bust shaping. So yeah, there is no option to do that in the pattern. I just added that myself. And I did that using the directions from Little Red in the Big City, which is a book by Isolde Teague. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be, my bust shaping is going to be perfect on there, because I did not, like, I wrote out, you know, my instructions for myself, and I didn't end up at the side seam where I thought I was going to. Like I was 4 stitches before then. So I don't know if I just didn't do quite enough rows or what the deal was, but anyway, apparently my math was off a little bit one way or the other, but I think it should be better than what it would have been without that. And I think it, you know, it looks totally fine in the broken rib. Let's see if I can, sorry, things are caught here. You probably can't tell, but there is, I think my wedge starts about here. And there's just a little pie wedge or pizza slice, maybe it's a better way to think about it, of fabric added to increase the width or the fabric available in the front. So I have finished that, and now I just need to knit down to the bottom. And I am sitting and looking at how much yarn I have left and going, did I misfigure this? I'm afraid I may be playing yarn chicken. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, and then my other whip is my Stars Hollow pullover, which I have made good progress on. It has sleeves. So the last time I showed it, it had half of a sleeve, but it now has 2 full sleeves. Look at that pretty cable. And I have gotten back going on the body. Stand up so you can see. I've got still several more inches. I'm planning on probably, I think I was planning that I would get a whole nother diamond maybe, or whatever this thing is, like a whole nother one of those down to this part, where it crosses. I'm going to try to get to there. And yeah, and then she'll be done once I get the body done, since everything else is finished. So really not much to say about this one. I finished the sleeve. I finished the sleeve several days ago, and I just got the body back on the needles last night and started working on this. Whenever I'm working on a more complicated project like this, like I have to mentally work myself up for it, because I'm working on this I'm looking at the charts in Knit Companion for this, and for some reason, whenever I have to use Knit Companion, I have to mentally prepare myself. Even though I already have the pattern set up in there, so I don't even have to do anything hard. Like I literally just have to open it and start working, but I guess I just have a mental block about Knit Companion. I do not find it the easiest software to use. So let's see. I am making the size 3 of the Stars Hollow pullover, which is a pattern by Sari Nordlund. That is the 45.25 inch bust. So once I get it finished, like I'll tell you how much ease and stuff that I have. This pattern comes in 9 sizes, 37.5 to 69 inches for a full bust, and it recommends 8 inches of positive ease. I won't have that much in mine, but I do have positive ease. Like I said, I'll tell you about that next time when I have it finished. Hopefully I'll have it finished by the next time I film. Yeah, the body, I don't know. Maybe I won't have it finished. The body, like the rounds here take a lot of time to get through. So hopefully I will, but I don't know. That might be shooting a little bit high. It is quite a heavy project. That's what I'm noticing now that I'm working back on the body, and it has both the sleeves attached already. You're supposed to put the sleeves on last, but I wanted to put the sleeves on first so that I could see how long they were when I'm deciding how how long to make my body. You know, getting your sleeves and your body the right length is tricky. I frequently follow the directions for how long to make sleeves, and then my sleeves are too short. I have really long arms. So like I try to make them too long, and then somehow they still end up kind of, usually never too long, hardly ever are my sleeves too long, but sometimes still too short. I probably should have put, instead of finishing those off, like should have just put some, you know, like stitch holders there, and like so that I could come back to them later, but it wouldn't be too hard to rip out like the hem there and just extend that a little bit if I need to. But anyway, like when you put the sleeves on, it does make the body hang differently. Like you get it more like it's really gonna hang if you put the collar and the sleeves on before you finish the body, because it can, yeah, when you add those elements, it can change how things hang on your body, and so you can end up with something shorter than you really want it to be if the sleeves like hike it up. So so yeah, that's why I went ahead and put mine on, but it is really, really heavy now as I am working on it. Yeah, so that is also one that this is not a mindless knit, obviously. And it's not even one like the Umbria top where it's mindless, but I do have to actually look at my stitches because I can't just feel them. This one, I have to have my iPad with me, you know, so I can't do this in the car, you know, because yeah, I need to have Knit Companion open and be staring at it the whole time. So yeah, but hopefully another couple of weeks and I can get that one done. Okay, so I thought I would talk to you a little about my plans. I've hit that point because I finished these two projects that were, you know, sort of taking up my focus, the Zephyr Tee and the Scrappy Yoke project. So now I'm down to just two projects, neither of which are very mindless, not portable. I mean, Umbria is portable, but not mindless. So I don't know. I feel restless when I get to this point. I don't know. Do other people feel that way? Like, I want to be working on something else to get something else going, but I also suffer a little bit from decision paralysis, I guess you would call it, because I have a million things in my queue that I want to make, that I have yarn for, but I can't decide what do I want to do. Yeah, so, and I've talked about some of the things that, you know, I want to make back, like, I think about my spring knitting plans, and like, I still want to make those things. I still have yarn that I could use for them, but I can't decide, like, what do I want to cast on? And I was thinking about this yesterday as I was contemplating applying for a test knit. Like, this is the point in my, you know, making where I go out and sign up for a test knit. I am a chronic test knitter. I do lots of test knitting, and I sometimes will take breaks from it because I find myself test knitting things that I don't necessarily love. Not that I've never disliked anything that I have made, but just sometimes I'm like, that isn't even, like, I would not buy that pattern. So why am I test knitting it? And this, I think this point where I'm at right now, just in my projects, like, this is the feeling that I'm addressing when I sign up for tests that I don't really love. And I don't want to do that. Like, what's the point in signing up to test garments that are, like I said, are not ones that I would buy when I have a whole queue full of patterns that I really do love and want to make. So but it's like, because the test knit has made that decision for you, right? And so, like, I don't have to make a choice about which pattern I'm going to choose. So that's really, it's dumb. It's so dumb that I do that. Rather than just picking any one of the beautiful patterns that I have available in my queue. Or even buying a new pattern that I already know that I want to make that has already been tested. Like, why do I do the testing? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I restrained myself. I did not sign up for a test knit that I was kind of considering. and I really want to pick something out of my queue. So I do have all of those patterns that I had talked about back in the spring that I still want to make. But I also just purchased 2 patterns from Jennifer, I'm not sure how she says this, Jennifer Shields Toland, JST Knits. She had like a summer sale or birthday sale or something, and her patterns were a little bit off. And I was definitely influenced by a podcaster, Amber, is it of a lovely yarn? Lovely something, I think. She has made the Seashore Stroll, like a circular yoke top. Well, I'll put a picture up here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I've seen hers before, and I really liked it. And so I had been thinking about it already. And so when it went on sale, I was like, this is my sign to go ahead and get that. I think it's really pretty. I love the texture. I was looking through the projects, and there's somebody who carried that texture on all the way down, and I really like the way that looked. For some reason, I'm really liking the textured tops, summer tops, this summer. So I really liked that one. I've been really liking the look of, is it the Lacy Loops tee? I'll put a picture of it up here that, a bunch of people are knitting right now. It's been, constantly in Ravelry's Hot Right Now, top 20 page. And, yeah, I'm very tempted by that one, but like that designer is just, as somebody put it, aggressively non-size inclusive. Like I think the pattern only goes up to a 3XL. And this is not like a pattern from 7 years ago or something. Like this is current. And it only goes up to a 3XL. Like I could fit into it, but like there's only one size above me for that size. So it's like, why would I give that person my money? I did see that Ozetta just released is it the clay tee? Again, I'll put a picture of it up here, which it's not the same, but it's kind of scratching that same itch that the other loops tee is for me. And I wondered if I could even just figure out what that little eyelet detail is in the, or mesh, not sure, in the other loops tee. But yeah, thinking about that. So the Ozetta clay tee is much more size inclusive, like it has 10 sizes or whatever. So I would rather give her my money and my make if I were to pick between those two. I really like the back detail on these. The only thing is that like they're all drop shoulders, which I have said before, I really dislike drop shoulders on me. I think if you've never heard me say this before, I think I dislike drop shoulders for the same reason that I actually like raglans. Like a lot of people complain about raglans not looking good. I think raglans, which this is why I'm pointing up here, this is a raglan. I think these look good on me, and I think it's because I have apparently broader shoulders, or I don't know if they're square. They're definitely not sloped. They come out, and so I think that makes raglans and circular yokes fit me a little bit better than they fit some people. But by the same thing that makes these look good on me, I think makes drop shoulders look bad. They just make me look so broad and like I'm a football player, which is not a look that I want. So anyway, I don't know. This might be one that I like the look of that back construction enough that I would just deal with the fact that I look like a linebacker when I'm wearing it. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm kind of thinking about that one in the back of my mind, but I have not purchased that pattern. So, but the Seashore Stroll I have purchased. And then I also, because she was having the sale, I also bought the Enola V, which I think is super cute. I love a V-neck. Like I have a pretty curvy hourglass shape, and V-necks, are one of those things that stylist or whatever will tell you, like, this is what you should wear. And I do think that is true. I think a V-neck looks nice on me. I do not like, a crew neck that comes up high. I have a short neck. And so, yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. And also I don't like that feeling of things touching my neck. So, Love a V-neck. And I think the shoulder detail on this one is really neat. So, this is one I would also love to do. And also this one, the Enola V, I'm assuming once you've gotten past the top bit is, totally plain, mindless stockinette. So that would be good for, having some plain stockinette on the needles. Let's see, I also purchased, as I said I was going to, the Winnie top as soon as it released. I'll put it up here, but this is a new design from Lily Kate Makes, and I think that this one is so pretty. I was so excited about this, and then I got it and realized that I had not thought about what yarn I would use. So it calls for a DK weight yarn, Cardiff cashmere, which there is like no way that I am going to be purchasing any Cardiff cashmere just from like a price perspective, but also like that's gonna be super warm. And this is a sleeveless top, and I don't need a sleeveless top that is warm. So yeah, so now I'm stumped as to what yarn I should use for that. Something, because it looks like, the Cardiff cashmere has the fuzzy, halo to it. So what summery DK weight yarn could I use? Like, does it need to have the halo? Like, I feel like nobody's made it with any summery yarns in the projects that I had looked at. Yeah, so I'm not sure. If you have ideas about what to use that might give some of that halo, but also be made out of more summer appropriate yarns, let me know. Yeah, because I'm a little bit stumped, and maybe I just have to, maybe just jump in there with something summery and just see how it goes, see if it looks, I don't know. I'm just not sure it's gonna have that like soft romantic look that I think is, and drape, that's part of what makes that top look so nice. Also I had a credit to spend at Knitpicks, or some credit to spend at Knitpicks, and so they're in the middle of their summer sale, which is lasting forever, like it's a month long, and yesterday they had a free shipping, no minimum free shipping. And so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and order some bubbly boucle. So I was not at all interested in this yarn when they released it. But then I guess I've been influenced by a couple of podcasters who have talked about knitting like sweatshirty type shirts or pullovers with boucle, and then how wonderful they were. Like I think AKA Nora Knits, and then I know there was somebody else who also made something with boucle, and they were like, the knitting was not so fun, but once it was knitted, like it was so soft and wonderful to wear. And so yeah, I was kind of influenced. The bubbly boucle is originally like 12 something a hank, and it was, some of the colors were on sale for $6.50, so they were like 50% off. And so I went with one of those sale colors, and yeah, I am not sure exactly what I'm gonna make. I'm thinking of using the Zipper Sweater Light as like a base, because like I want just something, again, like I'm envisioning around the house, like weekend loungewear. And so I like raglans. I think that would be nice and comfy. So yeah, I'm thinking of using the Zipper Sweater Light, which calls for a sport weight yarn, I think. Maybe it's DK. Anyway, I think it will work. I looked at the gauge on it. And yeah, using that as a base, I'm not going to do like the zipper sweater part, but I was actually, I was kind of thinking I could make it a V-neck, or I could just make a round neck, which actually the round neck might be, I don't know. Cause I was thinking about giving myself contrast cuffs, like doing a folded edges, for the sleeves and the hem and the collar. If I do the folded collar, if I did a V-neck, I probably wouldn't do the folded collar because I've never done one of those. So I'm not quite sure how to do that. So I don't know. I have not totally decided whether what kind of a neck treatment I'm gonna give it, but I'm definitely not doing the like unzip turtleneck thing. I'll just be using that pattern for, you know, the base sort of numbers. Yeah, so that's on the way. And then I also, in addition to that sweater quantity of the Bubbly Boucle, I went ahead and ordered another ball of the Samia, which is like a silk, mulberry silk yarn. Because I had gotten 4 balls of that. I don't know what I was thinking, because that is not enough yarn to make pretty much anything for me. Maybe I can make a, you know, a very airy tank top or something, but I ordered another ball of that, and that should be enough to make the Dune Drifter, which I really, really want to make. And that calls for a silk. So I hope that I will get started on that, like when that Samia arrives. And then I also got just a hank of the Melissa's, I'm not sure how you say that, their new sock yarn, because I just want to try that out. And I got it in a fun, like hot pink color. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And hopefully when those get here, you know, the Bubbly Boucle I may cast on immediately, just to, you know, because that's kind of on my mind right now. But I would like to get something started today or tomorrow. That would be another warm weather knit using some of my mini warm weather fibers that I've got going, and be a mindless knit. So yeah, thanks if you have made it all the way through. I would love to hear from you, hear what's on your needles. Does anybody else like suffer from that decision paralysis when you get to the end of projects and you need to start something new, but you don't know what to start? Am I the only one who signs up for test knits when I get to that point, rather than just making a choice on my own? And also remember, if you have any suggestions about what DK weight yarn I could use for the Winnie top that might give a similar look, I would love to get your input. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys hopefully in another couple of weeks. Bye.